Today I'm going to talk about Insultex House Wrap, what it is, what it isn't, what they claim it is. I'm going to do some testing with it, talk about the lawsuit and some of the history. All right, so here's the Insultex. This is a sample of it. So if you take the sample, I pulled it apart into two different layers. So this has like a foamy material and house wrap material. So if you were to separate those two, you'd get a foam layer. That's what they consider to be their R6 material, and the WRB material. All right, I think everybody knows what this is. This is sill seal, and this is like a foam material that goes under sill plates in framing. It's a closed cell polyethylene, and it's kind of like a squishy foam. It's a sealed air foam material. And this feels very similar to this. So this is like a thinner version of sill seal, but it's like a closed cell polyethylene. So when those two go together, they claim this to be an R6. This is really nothing more than sill seal with a WRB over it. All right, I'm gonna test this crap. What I'm gonna do is take a lamp with a 100-watt old style light bulb, incandescent light bulb, and that's gonna put out a lot of heat. And then I'm going to test this with a thermal sensor and test this with a thermocouple, and we'll see what happens. Lamp, box with a hole in it, shims. Now my lamp is in there. Piece of crap. All right, here's where I'm at. I got the lamp set up inside this box. This box will act as kind of like a heated area, and then obviously the ambient air in here is going to be cooler. I have a 4-channel data logger that uses thermocouples. So on channel 1, it's going to connect to the face of the zip here. Wood has a R value of approximately 1 per inch. This is a 1/2 inch, so this should have a R value of 1/2. This is allegedly R6. I think we're going to see that it isn't. And so channel 2 is going to read the face of the Insultex. Channel 3 is going to be the inside temperature of the box. Channel 4 is dangling down here, and that's going to be the ambient air temperature. Inside of the box is channel 3, which is 62. The face of the zip is channel 1 is 62. The face of the Insultex up here is 62, and the ambient air temperature is 59. So now, well, you can see the light's on. It's a 100-watt light bulb, and I suspect it'll start warming up quickly. This is going to log every second, a temperature interval every second. All right, I'm only about 15 seconds in. The inside of the box is at 76 degrees. Remember, channel 1 is the face of this plywood. Channel 2 is the face of this Insultex. And you can see I had to start recording because it's already drastically changing. So channel 1, again, face of the plywood is 62. It's already up to 70 degrees on the channel 2, the Insultex. Oh, it's 72 degrees. It's 86 degrees inside the box, and it's still 59-degree ambient air temperature. All right, we just went 1 minute in. Inside of the box is 90 degrees. The face of the Insultex is already 74 degrees, 77 degrees, and the face of the zip is only 62. So the face of the zip is 3 degrees warmer than the ambient air temperature. So the heat hasn't even transferred, but you can see how quickly that heat is transferring into the Insultex. 2 minutes and 30 seconds. The inside the box temperature is 109 degrees. The ambient air temperature is still 59 degrees. And the face of the zip went up 1 degree. It's at 63. And the face of the Insultex is at 80 degrees. So it's clearly not a greater insulator than the zip. And the zip is not a good insulator. 8 minutes and 30 seconds in. The face of the zip has gotten up to 70 degrees. The top face of the Insultex is up to 92. I had to retape it because it's starting to like melt down. The inside of the box is at 128 degrees, but it stopped climbing very quickly. And the ambient air temperature is 59. So if this has an R value of 1 per inch, and it's a half an inch, that's an R value of 0.5. This has an R value of allegedly 6, and yet the temperature is 93 degrees on the Insultex, and it's 71 degrees on the face of the Zip. All right, 11 minutes in, inside the box 131 degrees, outside the box 59, and you see the Insultex is 20 degrees warmer than the face of the Zip. And the face of the Zip does not claim to be an insulator. This is the website for Insultex House Wrap. I've been seeing all over the place. Everybody's using this in place of exterior insulation. It alleges to have a R6 value insulation.
No, God!
It says it's tested, an ASTM C518, which is what's used for most insulations. But it says it's a modified ASTM 518 test. So when you look at the test results, a normal ASTM C518 test is a hot plate, a cold plate, and the test sample in between. This one used a modified ASTM 518-10 test with a 3/4 inch air gap in between. So there's a 3/4 inch air gap on both sides of the hot plate and the cold plate. So then what happens is the hot plate was 90 degrees Celsius, the cold plate's 52 degrees Celsius, the delta or the difference in temperature was 38 degrees, and they calculate the R value based on that. This was only over the course of 0 to 3 minutes. As you can see here, it starts dwindling quickly at 3 minutes, even with the 3/4 inch air gap. But you can imagine if you had an oven and you touched the top of the oven, that your hand would burn. But if you held your hand away 3/4 of an inch, you would feel the heat. It wouldn't be very hot. This is what Insultex used to look like back when they got sued. And it says with R value and the ICC number. The ICC number is International Code Council, and the ES report is the International Code Council's test, their service. So they have an evaluation report for most products. So in this ES report, this would imply that it was tested for R value. But in the original report, it was actually only tested for water resistance, surface burning characteristics, air leakage, and drainage. There was no evaluation for thermal resistance. So again, the ICC and the ES evaluation service never tested the product for insulation. They just threw this R6 on here. And now what's interesting is the newer version of this, since they've been sued, no longer even has this on it. It's just it just says Insultex and it says R6. Lastly, we need to talk about the lawsuit. The Federal Trade Commission sued Innovative Designs, which is the manufacturer of Insultex. The decision came out in 2021. The lawsuit started well before that. And the FTC alleged IDI made misrepresentations about its house wrap product in that it did not actually insulate. So the FTC said that the standard ASTM C518 testing did not conclude those results of R3 or R6. And IDI claimed that it was a modified ASTM testing, which is what I said before, where they had a 3/4 inch air gap on each side of the plates. So the standard test uses plates that transfer heat through conduction, but by adding this 3/4 inch air gap, it then has to radiate the heat rather than conduct it. So obviously it's going to have a different result. So following his testimony, the FTC rested its case and IDI moved to exclude or strike portions of the testimony. So because the FTC only submitted evidence from one witness and that witness's testimony was thrown out, they were unable to prove their case that IDI was lying about their R value representation. So long story short, the FTC failed to prove its case because it did a poor job of presenting the case.
Insultex does have an R6. You can never tell us that this isn't an R6.